right? So here's the thing. Let me pull this down just so you can see what are the expectations. So we have this data set. So these are built on Excel data analysis concept. You're using used cars in Kenya. So this is a data set I scraped from the web. And the idea is you need to further your understanding of how can you discover insights from data and how do you use that for a business case. And in this case, these are cars in Kenya, and your business case is you want to inform competitiveness in a car dealer. So you want to tell them to note a few stuff based off of the data you've obtained. So just for some preliminary information, this data set was scraped from checky.co.ke. That was as at 2020. And so as of now, there's an updated list, I'm sure. The only issue is we don't want to run the script again. And so we will use the 2021s, much as you can still extrapolate this to 2021. So when you're doing a real world project, then the expectation is you scrape data in real time. And so as it was got from the web, it needs to go undergo some cleaning. So you have dataset 1 and dataset 2. And dataset 2, if you just notice something, let me just download it and then open it. You will see what's happening. Download that. Okay. So here is a couple of questions we need to answer with our data. And so I just need to open this with, all right, with Excel. All right, so here's what we need to understand. So in this project, you need to use these two provided data sets. So clean the first one according to the column headers in the second one to achieve a cleaned version. You can use a tool of your choice. And this wasn't an expectation because that wasn't going to be created anyway. And as you know, you already have your data. So here's the thing. After you've done the cleaning, you need to outline the steps and functions you've used to clean your data. And if you don't have an understanding of cars, then the expectation was that you Google or you research to see these are cars. So if it's a car being sold in Nairobi, it's automatic. That's the transmission. The color is silver, and this is the mileage, so the kilometers it has done, and then it's imported from abroad, so it's not a used locally car. Let's say you buying from your friend or somebody who's used it in Kenya, and this was the year of manufacture, and then this is the fuel type that it uses. So that's a basic understanding of the cars data set. And so the expectation is that you answer the following questions using your data. So first off, find the median car price per maker. For now, let's just use the average car price per maker so that we just see what that entails. And we'll use the cleaned version first, and then we can try clean the other one, or I'll leave it to you as a challenge. And so here, one second, we have, I'll just select all these columns and resize them or refit them according to my liking. And as you can see, the top row, this is made of column headers, which give you a detail. These are the attributes of a car. So if it's a Mazda, which model is it? It's a Demio manufactured in 2013, which has ran for 135,000 kilometers, and it uses petrol. Review score is the aggregate of all the scores that it had. Let's say it had 10 5-star reviews, 3 4-star reviews, and 20 1-star reviews. So there's a way we calculate that. I'll show you that calculation in a bit. But essentially, it's people's idea of what is in the car. So this is the price. So the price is here. So the first question is find the average price per maker. So is it Toyota, Mercedes, and all that? So what you will do is to pivot your data. So first, I just want to name my data set or my array as car. And then if I want to find price per maker, I can do this. I can use a sum if average if function, but that will only give me for a single. So if I wanted to investigate, for instance, a Toyota and everything. So this is where pivot table come in, and I just need to name that price analysis per maker, like so. And here I want to insert my pivot table. So it's Alt NV, and now my table range, I can just say it's car because that's yeah. So that's my data, and what I need to put here is the make of my car. So is it an Audi? Is it a BMW? And then the other thing I need to do is price in Kenya shillings. So I don't need the sum of price because that's not relevant. What I need rather is the average, as you can see. So average price of those types of cars in Kenya shillings. And I can just sort this just so it becomes clear. So I can sort descending by average price. And as you can see, like the top 5 are the luxury cars. In average, they cost a bit more. So what else you should do or you can do is to use custom number formatting here. And how you can do that is, first off, you can do the manual one using the 1000 separator and then remove those decimal places just so your figures are clear. But then if you don't need the precision, then you can use the other custom number formatting. So for instance, if you are to make them in thousands, I'll just use a simplified case here where, so that's the 1000, but if I need to make them to be K, I hope you've noted if I put a comma, then it's rounding off to the nearest 1000. So it becomes 6,899,000, which now here what I can do is I can add that K, and somebody is able to tell that now this car is 6.8 million on average. So Jaguar and Land Rover, because it's almost the same thing, the make. And you can actually rename this. So instead of row labels, you can just say make. Then here is average price in cash as it is. So not a big deal there. Porsche 5.5 million on average. And at the low end, we have Bajaj, which is 525K. And we have, again, Opel. So this must be a very old car. And if you need to go to that specific instance, you just double click and you can see it's 202, made in 202, locally used, because you don't expect a car that has been locally used to cost more than something that is foreign used, because you know the conditions of our roads, and sometimes they say Kenyans are not good drivers, but that's a story for another day. Let me just put my laptop to charge 1 second. And so you are able to drill down to the data using that pivot table. I'll just delete this tab because it doesn't help make our work clean. And so we can see on average, these cars, Toyota is somewhere, in the middle because it's skewed. Remember, Toyota has the high end and again the low end, so it balances out. BMW and all that. So it's just your normal culprits. And so if you were to visualize this, so somebody would choose to make this in millions. So you could say instead of that, you want it to be M. And what you do there, you just add another comma. So it becomes 7 million on average, 5 million, 3 million, like so. So what you can do rather is you can choose for top 10 and visualize that. Yeah. And here, once you have your pivot table, you just go to analyze, then you say like so. And you have your simple data set there. And you can just remove the grid lines, remove these ones, and add a bit of data labels. So just depending on you, and then you can hide these as well. So the other thing is you can do is you can change the gap widths of your bars. So you just go to, you double click, then you go to format data series, and then you reduce the width to something, and you can actually change the color going to format, and just do all that you want to do. You can change the title and remove the legend because it doesn't tell you anything. So on average, this is skewed by Range Rover and all that. Then on top 10, you can see it's just the luxury cars. So that's just something to note. And for me, I really like to remove these grid lines sometimes. So that's answered question one. Do you have any question up to that point? Oh, sorry. 1 second. Did you say something? Hi, Javas. Okay. Yeah, then the other question which you needed to answer is find the average price of a vehicle per category. So saloons, sedans, trucks, SUVs, sports, and hybrids. So let me just see if we have that in our data. All right. So not really. We don't have that. And it's a bit hard to classify. Let me see. How can you know if something is, okay. So I didn't have the engine cylinders because that would provide us with some, what do we call it? With some basis upon which we might need to categorize our cars in those categories. So the other thing you could do is you could download some general data and combine these two names, then search in that database to see. So if it's a Mazda Demio, that's a hatchback. Toyota Axio, that's a sedan. Mercedes, CLA, I don't know, I think that is a saloon and all that. But we won't do that because this is an SUV. For me, I know them, but you can't do that manually unless you want to do with a sample. So that's that. I don't think we can answer that. Then unless we integrate that data. So determined by use of a chart, how the price of Honda cars changes by year of manufacture. So yeah, so price change by year of manufacture. We expect it to go down because if something was manufactured in 2002, then it means it's a very old car. And if it was manufactured in 2020, Alt HNV, let me just put car there. And what we want to choose, Year of manufacture will now be our rows. Then price is our value, price in cash. Then the other thing is we want to choose a car, a model. So model, no, make. So we can just put that in filter and choose for Honda. 1 second, where is Honda? So it's alphabetically arranged, right? So these are the cars for prices for Honda cars, and then we can just insert a pivot chart. So in this case, we will use a line graph or a dotted one to just denote that. And perhaps we just need two of them to see what's yeah. So let's choose an antithesis of that. All right. Okay. Sorry, I don't think this does it for us. Let's not make it a label. Let's make a column as well. All right. Then hide that. So this is our data, and I think I can just use this other formatting as well. No. I think here, let's use the K. And the other thing you can do is remove those grand totals because they're not helping, because these are the make. Then this is year of manufacture, right? And here, what we want to do, sorry, and just change the number formatting to something custom. So remember, everything you use in a workbook is stored. So if it's a custom number format that you've defined, that will be stored. So we have our chart here, and first thing you can tell, let me just remove these grid lines, for instance. You can decide to position this down here. I think for the year, 1 second. Right, sorry. So let me change the legend position to, can put it left over there. Then for this year thing, I think there should be a way we can format it to only take the last value. Let me see. How about if we, okay, sorry. How do you change to only get 95, 97? Let me see. Okay. No, that doesn't work. Let me just research that. 1 second. right? Um, 1 second. I think we need to have it somewhere. Okay. I don't think I've found it. Give me 1 second. Fine. We'll leave it as it is. Perhaps we can just filter for Honda alone for now, then see that how that changes. So I think there is a skew. As you can see, there is a car which was manufactured in 2013, which has a very high price compared to even those manufactured in 2021. Let me just see what we are. So we are dealing with sum of price, which should not be the case. We need to be dealing with the average price. So just display that field list and change that calculation to average. Yeah, so that gives a more true picture. And there's a skew at 2014 there because you don't expect a car manufactured in 2014 to be more expensive than a car manufactured in 2021 unless this one is a foreign or a new car and it's of a higher model or let's say a luxury. But then in 2021, maybe you only have few instances which are small cars. So we will investigate that in a second. But as we expected, and we can just show a trend line, I think it's somewhere here. As we expected, the price of cars by year of manufacture on average rise because the idea is a car manufactured in 2010 has had more mileage, has had some users, so it has exchanged hands, and so the asking price is not as much. So just to see what is skewing 2014 and 2021, you can just click on this and you see the mix or the type of cars that make up that kind of scenario. And you can see here we have CRV, we have Vezel, which I think is another, let me just see what type of car it is. Honda Vezel. So if you are a data analyst, you can get exposed to so many types of data sets. And it essentially calls for you to just be creative, investigate your data. So Honda Vezel, I think it's also known as Honda HRV because I only know the HRV name. And here it is, 1 second. All right, so I'll just display it for you over here. And so it's a HRV, which is more or less the sister to CRV. And these are definitely expensive cars. Yeah. So that's what is skewing the 2014 data. Cars, a huge number of cars imported in that period are of the expensive type. So I'll just delete that. And you can compare that to what's in 2021, which is just a single Honda Fit valued at 830K. If we were to do the same for Toyota, for instance, so let's select Toyota. We do expect a similar scenario, and let's just see how that goes. So it's an upward trend and it's an average price. Let's choose a more nuanced type of car. Let's say a Land Rover. So with a Land Rover, I think the price will start somewhere up. As you can see, it's the same scenario. And I think that even goes to the mileage one, same scenario. All right. So that question answered. Then the other thing is demonstrate by use of a labeled graph the difference in average price of foreign and used cars. So you can just add that here. You can add another pivot table, right? So we want to choose our range to be cars. Data source is invalid. Yeah, it wasn't called cars, it was called car rather. So we need to see foreign versus local, and that's what we'll have in the row. And then the price is somewhere there, right? And we just need to put these rows off. All right, so I hope that's clear up to that point. And we don't need the sum because that doesn't tell us anything. Let's change the value of the field to something more relatable to average price. And since you can't tell anything from this data as it is, that's why you always need a graph. So this is the art of storytelling with data. If you had so many instances, so here you just go to analyze pivot chart, and there you go. All right. So I'll remove the grid lines. I'll also remove the legend because I don't need it. And I think I'll do away with the primary vertical axis. And all right. So what I can do is I can add the data labels just so I see what's going on. And as you can see, on average, brand new cars, so you can actually color this separately. You just select it individually, select this one as well, and give this one another color as well. So I think you are able to tell a theme here in the sense that, so I'll just add, or if it's your case, you can adjust these, you can make them bold, you can increase the font of everything in your graph, just so it is clear. And these ones as well, you can customize. You can even hide all this value field in button, axis field, just so your chart is clear. You can actually remove the borders. So I can say no border, or I can just put a white color like that, just so if I import it in another program, let's say PowerPoint, I don't need to have the border as it is, you know. And the story you can tell here is brand new cars on average sell at a higher price point. So that's 4.7 million on average. Foreign cars at around 2.4 million, but the ones that are used locally, as expected, they sell at a lower price point. That's just how the market is, and that's what we expected. So nothing really different, but it's still interesting to see that kind of range where brand new cars sell for twice as much as foreign used cars. Yep. So that's answered. Then the other question would be the difference in average price of diesel versus petrol versus hybrid cars. So I don't know what to expect there, because my understanding is diesel cars might be more expensive because they tend to be SUVs, but let's just validate that assumption. So what I've done is I've copied a pivot table as it is. I don't need to create a new one, but the moment, if you need to copy it, you have to select it entirely. And so this is stored differently. So I can just go to my Analyze tab, create that field list. And now I need to see by type of fuel. So where is that? Fuel type, right? So on average, let's just see what's going on. We can insert a chart again. So now here you can just use, let's see, right? Can decide to use a bar chart just to break some monotony. Still, we don't need the grid lines, and definitely we need the data labels. So we can put them at the outsets of the data, like so. Then we need to hide this. We can just hide that and explain it. Then we remove the legend. So you can delete it away like so and expand this. And there you go. You have your analysis. You can color them differently as you wish. But for me, I'll just do a single color, just like that. And can do a custom number formatting over here, the K, and definitely what I can see. So here's the thing with custom number formatting. It doesn't change the value of your underlying cell. So hope you just know that. And we can sort this just so it's clear, because that's a good practice. So we sort descending. And so what we have here is diesel cars are selling for much higher on average compared to petrol, and then hybrids are the least in pricing, because I'm expecting the hybrids are few and far between, and most of them might be the Honda Insight. Let's just see what makes that up. So we have the Lexus, we have the Honda Fits, and we also, we have a Subaru Impreza, which is hybrid. Never heard of that anyway. This is a Mitsubishi, that FEV, and you can see most of them are just the Honda Fit, Honda Insight, Honda Fit, and all that. So definitely that's why we have the hybrid taking the last position, because we don't expect those to sell higher. And most of the cars that are diesel, you will find they are the large SUVs and the trucks. So you see Toyota Land Cruiser, Land Rover Discovery, some bit of Mazda CX-5 here and there. And most of them are just the luxury cars, hence the skew. And you definitely see that in your average price. And then the petrol one just has all of them, which is what you can say is more or less the average. So on average, it's around 2 million, the price of a petrol car. So I hope that's clear for you. Then the other question you need to answer is, perform a statistical analysis to demonstrate how the price of a vehicle is related to review score. Yeah, so there I leave it to you. You will have to have the developer tab. Sorry. Okay. So here's what you will do. You will come here to your add-ins. I think it's options, add add-ins. Then you can add the analysis tool pack, this one, right? Okay. So you can add it. Then once you open your worksheet, you will find it. Then you will use that to perform a correlation analysis. So sorry, add-ins. I think it's this one. Go. So I just need to add that alone. Okay. And now it will be available. when I want to perform any analysis. So just a challenge to you, you will answer that last question when it comes to correlation analysis. Jos, did I answer some of the concerns you had? Because the last time I think what we missed was pivot tables and a bit of tables as well. Then let me just show you a few tricks. Let's say you have your data like so. I mentioned you can just do a quick filter of Control Shift L, and so you can investigate manually. By the way, something you need to answer, just note this down, is what's the, like we've done for fuel type, do that for transmission and just see what's the trend there. And also check for color, if at all it's related to price, though I don't expect that to happen because color is just some abstract thing. And then, so I was showing you something. This side. So you can do with the data tab, you can sort. So let's say I'm in the make, I can sort by that. And so for first, I'll have Audi. And moving on like so, then I can decide to sort by something else. What if you wanted to say calculate the average of those cars? You can just use this subtotal and then you specify. So use as a function. So here we'll use sum function and add a subtotal to the price. Yeah, that. Then at every change in make, which is okay. So you will see something. So at every change in make, add a subtotal. And what you will see is if we go to this view tab, then we will see Audi total price. So the totals of Audi is that many thousands. The total for Toyota, total for everything is like so. So you can change this to average instead of using a pivot table. But this is something you just use for some specifics. Let's say you are doing some analytical testing to see if some things add to zero, then you can use that subtotal as well. But the sorting is definitely useful. So I can just remove my subtotals and go back to my data as it is. I think let's use the uncleaned version of the data and see if we can achieve something with the text functions just in the remaining time. So as you can see here, you really have a lot to work with. So if you were to extract here, I think I can just insert that, then use a text function. So year of manufacture, I'll use right. Is it right or left? Left of this function. Then I want to take the first 4 characters. Oh, the first 6, because it seems there's a white space, right? So taking the first 6, let's just see if that maintains that fidelity. So here I'm just showing you a few of data cleaning in Excel, some things that you might find useful. So let's see if that's okay all through. So you see, definitely it didn't capture that for all of them. Let me just show you what happened. So like for these cases, BMW, Honda, and all that, they didn't have a year of manufacture. You see? And so you can modify your function just so these ones are not skewed. So you can say, if this number, this one, and I want that. Otherwise, I just want a blank. If is number, that, have I written my question? My, 1 second. If is number this, because that's my logical test, then I need to do that. Value if true, then the value if false is, I just want an NA. 1 second. I'll use an NA like so. Let's see if that works. No. Because these ones are not numbers. If it's number value, 1 second. Let's see if that works. Value of that. Yep, so that works. Let's see if it's now the case for all those. Yeah, so that's now working because I was just trimming the text. It was being noted as a text. So if it's number that, then we have our year of manufacture. Otherwise, it's just blank. Then this is price in Kenya shillings. That's okay. But definitely you will need to do some cleaning here because we will only need to extract the number only. This cash, it's a text which you don't need, yeah, as you can tell firsthand. So you only need to extract everything after the cash. Let's see that, because it's not being recognized as a price in Excel. Insert here price, then let's see. You want to only find the value. You can decide to remove that part. So substitute. You want to substitute cash in that text. Okay, sorry. I think you want to substitute in that text D2, which is D2, the old text cash. With an empty kind of thing. Let's see, because that's not being recognized. But why could be that? What could be the reason? Let me see. Am I able to search for that? Search and text. I think it could be because of the white space, but let me see. Within this, so it exists at position 2, all right? So that's the reason why. So substitute, I just need to remove the white space. I can just do a trim. So still doesn't work. Okay. I'll see what to do about it and get back to you on that. Because it's definitely not working. All right. Hi, Lucy. Hi. Unfortunately, you're late for this call. We are just winding up. Not a problem. So here's what we've covered. We've done what was expected of you in week 1 of the project. I mean, in the project you are supposed to submit. So 1 second, I click this. All right. So we've used the cleaned version of the data set. And what I was doing was just setting some expectations straight on what we needed to do, since you guys hadn't installed SQL. We just needed to go through the last week's project just so we clear that out before we move on to the next thing. And moving on, I think it's now clear that before coming to the live workshop, we need to have gone through the content on LMS. And what I sent last week on Friday was regarding this project. So I'll expect you to make a submission by the end of this week. But essentially what you will be answering are the questions I've answered within the same call. And it doesn't require so much of your time anyway, because it's just some simple analysis. It's just getting to familiarize yourself with Excel. So first off, our question was, how does the average price of a vehicle, because we are investigating some data sets relating to used cars and new cars being sold in Kenya and their prices. And so what we are answering is what's the average price of a car depending on the make of it. So if it's a Jaguar or if it's a Mercedes, at what point does it range? And the whole idea is you want to use the cars data set in Kenya, of cars sold in Kenya, to inform, let's say, price competitiveness within car dealers. So remember, you can extrapolate this to any different scenario of your choice. But for today, we are dealing with cars. And so you want to understand what's really affecting the prices of cars in this context. So is it the fuel type, or is it the year of manufacture? And if so, how much does it affect the price? And on average, what can I expect of prices of cars in Kenya? So for instance, if it's a brand new car you want, then on average you need upwards of 4.5 million. If it's a used car, then there's two choices. Is it foreign used or locally used? Because on average, locally used cars range at around 1.6 million, thereabout, compared to their counterparts, which are foreign used. I think depending on the roads and the owner, sometimes you see they write lady owned, Indian owned, because there's biases in our society, but those biases are true in the sense that sometimes ladies don't drive their cars as rough, and so their cars tend to last and all that. And again, you need to also check, is it the fuel type that it's affecting my car price? So if I'm expecting to use a diesel car, why do I want a diesel car? Perhaps diesel is much cheaper to maintain or to run. I don't know, but I think so. Or do I want a hybrid car? And what hybrid cars are available in the market? What we've investigated is once you click on that, you'll just be able to drill down on your data, and you are able to see that most of these cars, especially, let's just sort by price, 1 second, largest to smallest. If it's hybrid, then it's on average, these Toyota Harriers and Lexuses, they are a bit pricier, but on the low end, then you can get a Honda Fit, Honda Insight, and all that. Then if it's a petrol car, then definitely you have so wide a range of options. But then the other question we needed to answer is how does the price of a car change depending on year of manufacture? So if it's a Land Rover, if it's a Kia I want, if it's a Lexus, so how does that change by year of manufacture? And do we have enough data points to sort of extrapolate what will be the average price of that car in 2021? Or if it was manufactured in 2010. So do I need a car manufactured just a year before or a year after? Yeah. So let's say you are selling your own car, then it gives you a good basis to just see at what price point do I need to sell my car? It's foreign use. I have these attributes about my car and all that. So it's just trying to drill down to that level of data-driven decision making. For now, it's at a low level, but once you do your capstone projects, so capstone projects will be an encompass of all that you've learned during this sprint. And what you will note is you're trying to solve some real world problems with those kind of projects. So I hope that gives you a quick overview of what we've done and what's expected. So the challenge I've left to you guys to do was to this assignment. I sent the link, so you can just access it via that link I sent on Friday. And here, what you needed to do is find the median price of a car and also to perform a statistical analysis to demonstrate how the price of a vehicle changes or is related to review score. Just a hint, you will be doing a correlation analysis, and for that, you need to enable the analysis tool pack in Excel, which you find at this point. So I think that puts you to task to understand what the analysis tool pack extends in terms of your capability of your analysis in Excel. But it will definitely answer some questions you have. Yeah. Right, so that's what we have there. Then what I was doing here was just trying to use some functions to clean this data. So this data is scraped it as it is from Checky, but I had to clean it with some scripts. I didn't do that in Excel, but I'm sure you can still do that in Excel one by one. So this car is being sold in Nairobi, it's automatic, the color is silver, the mileage is this and that. And so you just need to achieve the cleaned version using these other versions. So it's a huge challenge. But if you are really interested in Excel, then you definitely should take it up. And so that, in a nutshell, is what is happening. Do you have any clarity you need to seek? Lucy? Yes. Do you have any question? Mhm. Yes, the recording is available.